Okay, so I am Kat Grudko, and I studied graphic design a very long time ago. And I worked as a designer for a couple of years, but then through that, I kind of got sidetracked into photography, and I've now been doing photography for 12 years full time. And it's just become the thing that I absolutely love, and it comes so naturally to me. And I've tried all types of photography, from food to events to concerts to fashion to animals. Like literally, I've tried it all. And since I moved to Cape Town, I've been doing more sort of lifestyle, editorial, portrait type stuff. But I do still do a lot of the other stuff on the side. But that's just the stuff that I love to post, and that's the most fun to shoot. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Cool. And then just to get to know you a little more, we're going to do our 30-second COVID quiz to get to know the lockdown cat. So answer as many questions as you can in 30 seconds. Okay. So we'll start.
Pressure.
No pressure. So we'll start the timer now. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Shower every morning or shower twice a week?
Every morning. Who showers
Video
twice
call.
a week? Quickly, go.
Video call or voice call?
Video.
Sneakers or slippers?
Slippers.
Wine or whiskey?
Wine.
Face mask or face shield?
Face mask.
Shop groceries in store or order online?
Online.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Is that it?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes, that went quickly. Did I win?
Well, we had some more, so I don't know if we'll just go through them all.
Cool.
Favorite conferencing tool?
Yeah, Zoom has been a winner recently.
Okay. Yeah. Afternoon naps or sleeping in?
Both, but I love my afternoon naps. I'm just not a morning person. I love sleep.
Join the club. Snack all day or 3 meals a day?
3 meals a day.
Home cooked meals or order takeout online now that we can?
Home cooked meals.
Your best lockdown hack?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't actually know. It's funny because like my life hasn't changed that much, so I haven't had to change too much in my life.
It's a bit scary though to think about it. Like I think as creatives, we all feel that way. I'm like, I do this every day.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, I literally don't know. I don't really have one.
Maybe you do, and it's just like
we'll
your nature
figure it out.
To hack things all the time without knowing it. Okay. Anyway.
If I think of it, I'll eat.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in the photography industry. So
yes,
we just want to like touch on how the whole lockdown and the pandemic affected your business and the industry, like from your point of view. So, I mean, did it have any impact at all on your business?
Definitely. I mean, I say my life hasn't changed much. It hasn't. It's weird. So the immediate impact, which I hadn't even considered when it was busy happening, was that week before we went into lockdown, when it was hitting the Europeans already. A lot of my clients, being based in Cape Town, are Europeans. So I was supposed to have a conference with like a bunch of Germans that were coming over the week before lockdown hit. And they had to cancel the whole thing because they just weren't going to risk coming here. And then some of them had it and then, giving it to us. So they phoned me like a week before the conference, which we'd been planning for like months and months. That got canceled. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, it's not going to affect me. It's going to be fine. And then I had another shoot that was supposed to be in Joburg just after lockdown happened. And I obviously couldn't fly to Joburg. So that was quite a big hit, which I hadn't even considered at that point. And then they announced lockdown, and then I was like, I don't even know what that means for me, because my business is people centered, and it's not like I've been just shooting products or something that I could just shoot around the house. So at first I was like, it's fine because I've just got loads of editing, so I'll just catch up on all of that, thinking it'll just be the 3 weeks. And now it's just been delayed and delayed and delayed. But that's where I'm lucky in that I have sort of shot everything so that I know I can. And I'm sort of now going back to my roots of shooting product and that kind of stuff to get something coming in. I am lucky that I do actually work for a stock photo company called Picture Stock, and so it's remote, so it's not a full-time job, so I can still do my own stuff on the side, which is what I have been doing. And they're like they call themselves an Afrocentric stock site, so it's like African centered stock, instead of, when you like go and type in person running fitness or whatever, you get like a very American looking person in their fitness stuff, and you can tell it's like San Francisco or something. You don't find like very typically African stock stuff.
How do you navigate that now? Sorry to interrupt.
So luckily when I shoot, I try and make the best of every shoot. So if my brief is an electronics thing and they only need 10 photos, I've got a family here sitting on my couch pretending there's electronics around that I'm going to Photoshop in. But then I'm like, okay, cool. Since I've got you here, I've got you at my place, I'm going to shoot you doing similar stuff as a family around my house. So I do have other shoots where I've like done other stuff like that I still had backed up, that I've been editing and submitting. But also we have sort of gone a little bit more abstract, and you can shoot like clouds in the sky, you can shoot a sunset, you can shoot leaves on the tree, plants around the house, like everything could be stock. So I've had to get very creative in that sense to shoot around the house, and I've used myself as model for some of them as well, which is an interesting development.
You kind of just adapt and you just do.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, oh no, like, am I going to lose my job as well? Because like, what can I do? Because it's been, people centered. And then my boss was like, here's some references, here's some ideas. And it's like pegs and like stuff that you get around the house. So I was like, okay, cool, we can carry on, which is awesome. So thankfully I have that. But I'm trying to think of other ways to bring other stuff in while we can't do anything, because I think we're only allowed to shoot properly at level 1. So it might be a while.
The one thing that we've seen sort of around and on social media is virtual shoots.
Yeah.
I don't know how they work. I don't know how well they work, but it's quite a cool concept. Have you tried? Have you?
Yes.
And how does it work?
I fought it for a while because I'm a purist, and I'm like, even for the stock stuff, they're like, you must have stuff on your phone that you can submit, because obviously when you're going for a walk, you don't have your camera, you take photos. And I literally said to her, I was like, I can't submit stuff off my phone. Like, knowing the difference in quality, the photographer in me is like, I just can't. It's just not the quality that I'm used to. But I may have to resort to that if I start running out of subjects, if we 6 months down the line or whatever. But I've now completely lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this?
Virtual shoots.
So I fought it for a while, but now that this could potentially be months, I am now testing it out. I literally did one a week ago. So there's many different ways you can do it, which is also the interesting thing. And it depends from person to person, and also what kind of phone you have and the person that you're FaceTiming with has. Because mostly I've only heard of FaceTime one, so I'm not sure how you would do it on another platform. But there's like little tweaks here and there that make the quality of the photos better that I'm learning as I go. So that girl is still doing selections. I actually haven't edited or posted yet because I'm just waiting on that. But it's going to be interesting to see when I send those into editing apps. I still don't know if I'm going to do it on an app on my phone or if I'm going to do it like through Lightroom editing software. So that's going to be interesting as well to see how those photos deal with editing on top of them, like what that quality is like. But I obviously follow a lot of groups on Facebook, so someone will post one and you'll be like, no way is that a FaceTime shoot, because it literally looks like she was there.
Like specifically for the moms that are pregnant, they were like obviously really upset because they can't have a maternity shoot done, and that's the one virtual shoot I saw, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Excuse my ignorance, but how? So do you still use your camera? How does it work? Do you still you don't use your camera?
I've seen a guy that did use a camera. the model that he used had a decent camera and a tripod and that whole setup. So he did do it through that, and then somehow sent the photos to himself as RAWs, and then he processed them. So that is a way to do it. The way that I did it is literally you just FaceTime the person, and in that little square, you see yourself in the corner, but if you kind of press on where the person is, a little round dot comes up, and then you can press there instead of taking a screenshot, because the screenshots lag. So if you press that little dot, it takes the photo without your little block there as well. So it looks like an actual photo. But there is no doubt that the quality is not as good as a proper camera, obviously. But the point in all of this is it's not going to be a commercial shoot. You're not going to be blowing it up on a billboard, you know. It's for people, for content, for their Instagram and for Facebook. So you don't notice that quality isn't as great anyway. So it's fine for that sort of thing. And yeah, as you say, I have a friend who's pregnant now. She's not able to do a maternity shoot. So I actually asked her yesterday if she wants to do one. So we're still figuring that out. So it's a nice sort of in between for people that can't at the moment.
Yeah. It's bridging that gap for people. Because the nice thing is it's not going to replace a photographer. And that's the one thing that's great to still have, because like you say, the quality is definitely not going to be the same. But in this time, it helps with things like a maternity shoot or taking photos of memories and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
And the photographer is still involved. You know, you still need a photographer to give you direction.
That's what I was about to say. At first, I think I fought it because I was like, oh no, now anyone can do a shoot. But that's what I thought when we went from BlackBerry to smartphones and the cameras got better. Oh, there goes our job. Like, you know, your initial reaction is to panic. But what I've learned through this is, yes, anyone can take a photo, and maybe 1 out of 100 photos that someone takes is great. But what we do has to do with us having an eye and a knack for being able to tell what the light's doing, you know, what works with what and what mood works with what situation, you know. So we're still needed. You're still needed for that direction and to get like that good photo, because you can see when someone's done it and they've just like chucked it together and you're like, it doesn't look so great. And then you see those ones where you're like, that looks incredible, you know.
It's such an important thing to say as well, because so many, like everyone goes through that. They're like, even as a designer, you're like, okay, great. Now everyone can use Photoshop, and there's Canva and there's Wix, and we're going to be replaced. We're not going to have jobs. But again, like you said, you know, in doing what you do, like yourself, you know, like you have an eye for it. And you're also very specified, although you've done a lot of different things. When you see your work, like you can see that sort of trend in your style, which is very different from any other photographer that I've seen before. So that's nice that you have that. No, I'm serious. I was telling Sasha as well. I'm like, you know, like photographers, like you'll get a wedding photographer or like people that do family shoots and stuff. But I feel like yours, like you were saying, it's very lifestyle based, which it is. And it's just, there's something different to it. Like you don't get many photographers that capture those moments. And that's really why I think we wanted to chat to you and just see, you know, like how things have been going and what's been happening. And I know you've also moved to Cape Town.
Yes. That means a lot, because like that is the thing. Like I studied at varsity with you. Yeah. So I went from graphic design to photography. Yes, I've studied graphic design, but I didn't study photography.
You self-taught,
Yeah, there's those first few years, and I still have it creeping every now and then where you have that doubt of like, they're going to figure out I'm a fake because I didn't study, you know. But it's your work speaks for itself. If you make a beautiful picture, then it doesn't matter whether you studied or not.
But it's, you know, the one thing that you've got as well is that there is design in your photos. So like you have those rules and you sort of kept to, like, probably not even consciously, but you've got that design background, which I think is what pushed you to the next level of it, because anyone can take photos as well. Like you said, you know, we all have phones, we can buy a fancy camera and whatever the case may be, but to have the eye and the talent for it is something completely different. So that's what's so nice, that's irreplaceable. And I think we just wanted to find out as well, like, this process has been very difficult for everybody, you know. What's your mindset, like how are things going to change when things go back to normal, which they're probably not ever, but you know what I mean? Like, it's So, like, will you carry on doing virtual shoots? Will you change sort of anything that you've been doing now? Will you adapt it? Like, how does that go?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, because obviously it's still like every day is different and every day is evolving, and you can't really predict how long or how this is going to go. So it could very much change from what I think right now. But the way that I'm thinking right now is I really do want to do a lot more of these online FaceTime, whatever you want to call them, shoots, and sort of perfect that, because even when this is over, it opens up your clientele, because of people in Norway and China and like all these different places where you be in front of these people. And if I find someone like a family that I love, or a person whose look I love, I can then do one of these online shoots with them,
and I mean,
without having to go there.
Yeah, you let people know when you come to Joburg. Like I've seen before, like you'll say, guys, I'm coming to Joburg, book your shoot for these days or whatever else. I mean, that kind of falls away. Well, you still do that, but it kind of gives more opportunity to say, don't have to come to Joburg, but I can still do your shoot, you know, which is awesome.
As long as it's just someone wanting it for content and they're not too bothered about the quality of it, then it's good in between, you know. And it also obviously, like, the price comes down, because like it's a lot less effort. You don't have to travel, you don't have to spend half a day traveling, you know. So it's like all of that time that gets saved, which is really nice. So I mean, it's definitely not going to take over, but it is it's an avenue that I'd never thought of doing, that now has kind of been opened, and I'm like, okay, we could do this. Like, I've got friends in the States now. If one of my friends gets pregnant and wants a maternity shoot that is my aesthetic, then I can be like, cool, let's do a FaceTime one. You know, you can always go and do a proper, like, professional quality one to blow up for your bedroom wall. But if you just want some snapshots for Instagram, then you can, which is so cool.
I think that's a nice thing about lockdown. I think there's been so much negativity, but it's also brought so much new opportunity to everything. Like you said, you've never thought about this avenue before, and it's something that you can keep. You don't have to be like, oh, well, lockdown's over, let me get back to it, you know.
Exactly.
And the nice thing is, like you're saying, it's you can work remotely, and you sort of say, okay, cool, well, let's experiment here, let's experiment there, try new things. And I think that's sort of where everyone's trying to head now. It's that experimentation, and see, like, how do virtual shoots work? Like, what else can we do? You know, like you were saying, you have to sort of take photos of different things that you've never thought about before. And those opportunities are endless. Like, I think you'll be taking photos for a long time.
Luckily, everyone needs photos, so it will continue regardless. Which is
no, this is very true. Awesome.
And then I just wanted to, like, obviously the whole COVID-19 has like accelerated globalization, so it's forced us to sort of get in touch with everyone everywhere. The whole world is going through the same thing, and so for creatives, there's been a lot of online collaboration. So you see people reaching out, working together, just to try to stay afloat, but also come up with new content, because we're so restricted. So, like, how have you collaborated within the photography industry? How does that work? Can you, like, get two photographers together to do one virtual shoot? Like, is it too many cooks that spoil the broth, or?
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually had a friend that I met years ago, and she's in Joburg. So I use her on my Joburg shoots when I can't get there. And she messaged me this morning, and she was like, there's this competition running and you can win prize money, and you should totally do it, because like, even though we're both photographers, she was like, cool, you can do the modeling, because I am such a hoarder. Like, I buy stuff just because it's going to look cool on a shoot one day, and half of it I've never used. So I have all this cool stuff, and like makeup that's like Lumo pink lipstick. I would never wear that, but I buy it anyway, just for like, oh, I might use it on a shoot one day. So she's like, cool, I know you have all of this like cool out there fashion stuff, so you can do the model part, and then I'll do the taking the photos part, and we're going to do like a whole little collab shoot thing and see what comes out of it, which could be really cool. And then I've seen other photographers who are doing podcasts and webinars and like Instagram lives. I'm watching, I love Laura Jade. She's a photographer in New York. She does like the most beautiful portraits. She's shot for like Harper's Bazaar and all those insane magazines. And she's been doing this weekly thing where she interviews other photographers for like an hour, as long as the session will allow. And she's speaking to, like, obviously she is top quality stuff. So she's speaking to stylists, other photographers who are on that same level. And it's an interaction that they would normally have when they're working on set that now they can't. So it's a little bit for her to get that sort of connection still going. But then also all of us that follow her and the other people get to see that interaction and get that, like, you feel like you're there and you're like,
you wouldn't normally get that insight.
And you can literally write your question in the comments if you want to ask something, and sometimes they do read them and they'll respond. And like, it's this level of connection that's never been there before. It's just, and it's a little bit overwhelming because like every night I log on and there's like 20 lives going and I want to watch all of them. So you have to prioritize your time and like which ones you want to watch. And like the other ones throughout the day, I've got friends that are doing webinars and lives and stuff, like teaching things that even though I might know it, if it's someone I know, I still want to see how they do it because it could be very different to how I do it. So there's like this whole world of information that's just like rushing at you at this point, that everyone's just becoming more proactive and trying to
I feel like Sasha and I were discussing this, where that overwhelmed feel, like specifically today, I don't know, it's also like, it's mind-boggling. And I feel like in this time as well, like you want to be so much more creative and you want to do everything, and like there's just not enough time in a day anymore, which is so interesting because you've got so much more time. But it's like such a backward way of life now. It's really interesting. So
I mean,
it's
it
nice
is,
to hear
but it also, it is, but it isn't, because like I feel like my days are so packed, but I'm not getting what I want done. Like I have a list and I might wipe one thing off, but then the rest is still there. And I'm like, but I did nothing. But I did, but it's because we're having to think of different ways of interacting with people, work, like what we're doing, how are we making money? You're like pivoting all the time. Like, how can I change, you know, and you're learning all this stuff. So like most creatives aren't just sitting around doing nothing. You're watching the webinars, you're like upskilling, you're learning. All the sites are having free stuff. Like I spent 10 days on Sue Bryce's site because all of her stuff was free, which you normally pay like huge amounts for. So like we're all going to come out of this with so much more knowledge, and that gives you more like will and want to work and like try out all the stuff that you've just learned. So I think all creatives are going to be like raring to go when this is over.
It's funny because in the beginning as well, I was like, this is like any creative's dream, just to sit at home and work. Like, that's all you want to do. You don't want to have to go to meetings or anything. You just want to sit at your computer and work. And like we've obviously been given the opportunity, but it's brought so much else with it. Your mind's just like exploding. So it's interesting to know like we're not the only ones. It's not.
Awesome. So I mean, Sean, anything else you wanna throw in there?
Not really. I mean, I think like it was a good chat and a good session, and I think hopefully other people are going to learn from it and sort of, you know, pick bits and pieces and little nuggets of information that they can use for themselves. Like the whole idea with this from the beginning is that we want to sort of create this community of designers and creators, whether it be photographers, web designers, graphic designers, whatever it is, and sort of, you know, like you're saying, sort of pass around knowledge and get to know how we do things, how you do things, how life's treated you in the same kind of situation. Also, I'm sure Cape Town's very different from Joburg as well. So I think
maybe. I don't know.
We went to Cape Town recently. Like actually, it was I think when COVID-19 just came to South Africa, we were in Cape Town for a wedding.
Oh wow! And
we didn't know until we left. But I don't know. Cape Town life for me is very different. It was not as.
It was not you. Overall, there are two very different places. I just don't know how Joburgers are handling COVID versus Cape Townians. I think it's kind of similar, but the actual place is very different.
Okay, and then do you have just a few seconds of self-promotion? do you have any specials, promotions, or cool content that people can go check out or that they need to know about? How do they get hold of you?
So in terms of specials and stuff, I don't really do specials and things, also because I have been so busy with all my work that I've kind of just been like soldiering on. But I have been thinking about doing vouchers so that if people want to buy a shoot now, and who knows, it might last a month, it might last a few months.
Cool.
So I'm thinking about doing like a kind of discounty thing on anyone who
have been
wants
doing vouchers too.
Yeah. So it's in the pipes. So if I do decide to actually do it, I will make up a little thing that I'll post on my Instagram, which is where everyone can find me. So on Instagram, I have two different profiles. I have a lifestyle one and a one that's more sort of focused to models in the fashion industry. So my main one is the fashion one that I spend the most time on, which is Grudko Photo. Do I need to spell it, or will you write the name?
We'll put it in
the link, yeah.
Because I know it's a weird one. And then my lifestyle profile, which is more like families and portraits and weddings and that sort of thing, is Grudko Life. And then otherwise people can sort of get hold of me on my Gmail, which is catgrudko@gmail.com. So pretty easy once you know the spelling.
And will virtual shoots become part of your package?
I think they might. Yes. I'm still figuring out how to price it, because obviously I'm still in the testing phase of like figuring out the best way to do it. But yeah, I think in the next week or two, I'm going to figure that out, and then I'll sort of be able to put a price to it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing some of those.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those turn out. And I'm sure people are going to want more of them, because it's a very different concept. But yeah, it's sort of coming to life now, and people are definitely accepting the idea. So
yep, definitely.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks
you so much, Kat.
Cool. Thank you, guys. It was
awesome day. And yeah, we'll keep in touch, and hopefully we'll chat again. And yeah, good luck with everything. Good luck with this whole transition. I think it's exciting but scary as well. So
yeah. It is. Thank you. And to you guys. Awesome. I'm sure it's kind of similar for you.
It is, yeah. No, it is. It's very scary, but it's exciting as well. So
yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kat. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.